بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سيقول السفهاء من الناس ما ولاهم عن قبلتهم التي كانوا عليها قل لله المشرق والمغرب يهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم وكذلك جعلناكم أمة وسطا لتكونوا شهداء على الناس ويكون الرسول عليكم شهيدا وما جعلنا القبلة التي كنت عليها إلا لنعلم من يتبع الرسول ممن ينقلب على عقبيه وإن كانت لكبيرة إلا على الذين هدى الله وما كان الله ليضيع إيمانكم إن الله بالناس لرؤوف رحيم قد نرى تقلب وجهك في السماء فلنولينك قبلة ترضاها فول وجهك شطر المسجد الحرام وحيثما كنتم فولوا وجوهكم شطره وإن الذين أوتوا الكتاب ليعلمون أنه الحق من ربهم وما الله بغافل عما يعملون ولئن أتيت الذين أوتوا الكتاب بكل آية ما تبعوا قبلتك وما أنت بتابع قبلتهم وما بعضهم بتابع قبلة بعض ولئن اتبعت أهواهم من بعد ما جاءك من العلم إنك إذا لمن الظالمين الذين آتيناهم الكتاب يعرفونه كما يعرفون أبناءهم وإن فريقا منهم ليكتمون الحق وهم يعلمون الحق من ربك فلا تكونن من الممترين.
صدق اللہ مولانا العظیم. بہت خوب علی بیٹے، اللہ تعالیٰ آپ کو جزائے خیر دے، اللہ تعالیٰ آپ کے قرأت میں بہت ترقی دے، آپ کے دل میں اخلاص دے. جزاک اللہ خیر. So inshallah today we are commencing the second para from سَيَقُولُونَ السُّفَهَاءُ مِنَ النَّاسِ مَا وَلَّاهُمْ عَنْ قِبْلَتِهِمُ الَّتِي كَانُوا عَلَيْهَا. So this is the subject regarding the changing of Qibla from Bayt al-Maqdis to Kaaba. And the thing is that when Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to pray namaz in Makkah, he used to pray toward Kaaba. And when he used to pray toward Kaaba, and in the 13th year of Nabuwat, he migrated to Medina from Makkah. And over there, with the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he started praying toward Baitul Maqdis. And when he started praying to Baitul Maqdis, that thing lasted for about 16 to 17 months. I'm not sure about 16. So after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala command came. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to face back toward the Kaaba, to Masjid al-Haram, that is in Makkah. So I would like to point out a few things regarding the Qibla. First of all and foremost, that we do not worship Kaaba. Kaaba is a building of a stone and mortar that was originally built by Adam alayhi salam. Adam alayhi salam, when he was descended to this earth, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a test, he separated him from his wife, Bibi Hawa. So Adam alayhi salam was landed somewhere in India or China, and Bibi Hawa, she was in Hijaz. So Adam alayhi salam looked for his wife. He was very disheartened, and he looked all over the world for his wife. And finally, in the vicinity of Makkah, they met. And after meeting for 350 years, Adam alayhi salam, he bowed his head in submission, in sujood. And later on, all his progeny, spread out in this world. But Adam alayhi salam built a masjid where now Kaaba is, and that his children used to pray, because it was the Qibla of Adam alayhi salam, and Adam alayhi salam used to pray toward that. But when the great flood of Nuh alayhi salam happened, that masjid was destroyed, and then it was again rebuilt by Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam built it, like, he's a builder in a sense that he will put all the stones of the Kaaba wall, and Ismail alayhi salam is a builder that he will provide the cement or the mortar for the stones that Ibrahim alayhi salam was installing. So that's why they are both rebuilder of Kaaba. And when Ibrahim alayhi salam, he did not live in the Makkah Valley, because he went and settled down in Canaan. So Canaan is what is now present-day Palestine and Syria area. That's where he settled. And his other son, Ishaq alayhi salam, his progeny, prospered there. But Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, and later on that, they moved to Egypt. Until the exodus by Musa alayhi salam, they lived in Egypt. So no significant, temple or the masjid was built there until the exodus from the Egypt. Musa alayhi salam came out of Egypt with his people, and they resettled in their ancestral land, which was Canaan. So, or Canaan, I do not know the exact pronunciation, but they settled in what is now Palestine. And over there in the Jerusalem, only Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam, the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he built what they refer to as Haikal-e-Sulaimani, the temple. But Bakht Nasr, in I think 580 or something, 587, he attacked Jerusalem and sacked that whole city, including the temple. And second time it happened in the Roman time. So now another point I would like to give is that Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is Imam al-Qiblatain. The 11th year of Nabuwat, which was a very hard year for Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because 10th year he lost his protector, Abu Talib, and his beloved wife, Bibi Khatija. And that was called the year of sorrow. And this is the same year that he went to Taif, a very, very testing journey for him. And after that, right after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him the Miraj. So it is called Isra or Miraj. So Isra is the journey from Makkah to Medina, to Jerusalem. And when he went to Jerusalem, he led the namaz of all the prophet from Adam al-Islam to Isa al-Islam in the Jerusalem. So he's Imam al-Qiblatain because after the conquest of Makkah in 8 Hijri, so he cleaned Kaaba from all the idols and also became Imam al-Qiblatain, that, now both of them. So this is regarding that, this is not, the direction of Qibla is basically a discipline, like we don't worship Kaaba, but we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and wherever he command us to do. So it was a little bit hard for the Muslims, because they say that, like for the Muslims in Medina, in people who were in Makkah, they were used to it because they had seen Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam praying toward Kaaba. But when he came to Medina, so for the first, few months, like 16 months or so, he prayed toward Baitul Maqdis. And when he prayed toward the Baitul Maqdis, the people in Medina, the first masjid that was established, because in Makkah there was no masjid. So Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would go and try to read in Masjid al-Haram, but Abu Jahl will always try to stop that. So in Surah Alaq, Arayat allazi yanha abadan iza salla. Have you seen a person who would stop my slave, which is Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, from praying? So that's what Abu Jahl would do. Only in the 6th year of Hijrat, 6th year of prophethood, when Hazrat Umar Farooq accepted Islam, so he said that, why should we do the namaz so candidly? So he with Hazrat Hamza, they went and they formed 2 group of people, and they performed namaz right in the Masjid al-Haram. And that was met with a lot of opposition by Quraysh. There was a lot of fighting, and there was a thing there. Anyway, so this is the thing that, the people of Medina, they were used to seeing Muslims praying to that. That was the first masjid that was established, Masjid al-Quba, Masjid al-Haram, Masjid al-Nabwi. They were all praying toward Baitul Maqdis. So when it was changed, it was very hard decision, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, we want to know that who follow Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and who turn back on their heels. So it doesn't mean, here another point I would like to make is that Allah knows everything. All the people are going to do what's going to have. But when he says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to know, that means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward or punish people according to what they do. Allah knows everything that is supposed to happen and what going to be. So Muslims, although it was hard for them changing of Qibla, but they obediently followed what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did. And this is called Masjid al-Qiblatain. It is still there. So in 2016, when I went there, I saw that the original Qibla of Masjid al-Qiblatain, it's the Baitul Maqdis, and exactly opposite of that is when the Qibla was changed, that was toward the Masjid al-Haram. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding us to do that. And he's Imamul Anbiya. So including the Anbiya of who built the temple, Haikal Sulamani. And so that's why it says, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةٌ وَسْطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونُ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. Now, we have made you a nation or ummah that is justly balanced. Justly balanced means, like, we do not exaggerate anything, because look at the case of Isa alayhi salam. When Isa alayhi salam came, so the Isa alayhi salam never said that Mazallah, he is the son of God. But later on, as an exaggeration, Christians, what they did, they started calling him son of God, and later on God himself. And on the other hand, Jews, they rejected him even as a prophet. So this was two extremes. One extreme would rejecting him as a prophet, and another extreme. So our religion, the Muslims, we are the people of balance. You know, Awliya Ikram, we cannot exaggerate and make them Sahaba. Sahaba, we cannot exaggerate them, although we love all the Awliya Ikrams, but we are the nation of, justly balanced. So we know that uh, we cannot exaggerate or cannot, reject anything unjustly. So that's what it means. And what does that mean? Here, there's another word. So we can make you the witness. So witness, shohada. So shohada here has a different meaning of context. He said here the meaning is more like an example. So we can make you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to Muslim, that we can make you an exemplary community. Because when you know the balance, when you know the due respect of awliya, sahaba, prophets, and we cannot exaggerate who's that who's Imamul Anbiya and who are his followers and all that. So this justly balanced thing in which you cannot do that. So you make an exemplary community, exemplary ummah, exemplary nation, which we used to be. Unfortunately, we do not enjoy that anymore. And Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would be an example for you. Example of righteousness, example of piety, example of righteousness. Look at the life of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He was an exemplary figure. Like in this time of pagan Arab, they would not, it was a very arrogant society, very sexually permissive society, very alcoholic society, but there were some aspects they would greatly value: the honesty, the trustworthiness, and truth. So Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he became an exemplary, an example of truthfulness, that in the early days of his preaching, Arabs, Quraysh, they convene a meeting, and Adbab bin Rabia, their chief, he said that, Hajj season is coming, the tribes from all over Arabia will be coming. So just form one opinion about Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So this way, you would not negate each other, or you would not contradict each other. So just form one opinion, and everybody ask about Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you say the same thing. So they started a meeting, and first person say, Mazallah, Mazallah, we will say that Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is a liar. So Adbab bin Rabia, who was the chief, and he was plotting a meeting against Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but he himself witnessed. Nobody would believe you. The whole Arabia knows that Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is famous for his truthfulness. So this was an example of truthfulness, that the worst enemy would testify that he always speaks the truth. And in the eve of he was migrating from Mecca to Medina. What happened that Quraysh, they had plotted that they will, Mazallah, assassinate Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and for that task they selected one warrior from each clan, which the group of that surrounded the Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam house. They were about to assassinate. They had plot to assassinate Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But Jibreel Amin came, and he said that, do not lie on your bed today. So Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam know what was happening. So he is like, they were such worst enemies that they wanted to assassinate Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But he had such a exemplary character, that if they would trust with their goods, they will keep it. They will call him Amin, and they'll keep all the valuables. At that time there was no lockers, no banks, so they will keep it in Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam house. So in the very house they had surrounded to hurt Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, their valuables were right in the house of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not say to Hazrat Ali that, okay, they are trying to hurt me, so do not return there. He said, when I leave, you return all those valuables to those people, to his enemies, and then come to Medina. And so such was. So this is the one. This is the word here in the context means shuhada. So you become, but if you follow his example of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, of truthfulness and truth, so we will become an exemplary in our business dealing, in our daily life. And such was a case in India. My father, he used to say that in India, in the olden days, in the village, like if there was only one person, one Muslim living in the whole village, and if somebody daughter get married and there were valuables with them, like in the dowry, the girl is supposed to be taken to another village, they will find a Muslim and trust him with all the chastity of the bride and all the valuables of the bride, and they say, okay, you escort that bride to the next village, to the bridegroom family. So that was the thing, that we became an exemplary community to other people, and our example of truthfulness was Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala gave us guidance, so we again become an exemplary community to the rest of the world. So وَمَا جَعَلْنَا الْقِبْلَةَ الَّتِي كُنْتُ عَلَيْهَا إِلَّا لِنَعْلَمَ. So here is Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, we give you back, or we turn you back to the Qibla which you are on. So that was the Qibla of Masjid al-Haram, that Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in his Makki life used to face toward that. And Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is again saying that He want to test you, that who follows the Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and who would turn back on their heels. And so now the other point I would like to make, that some people had a doubt, that they thought, okay, the Qibla has been changed. What about for the 17 months we were praying toward the Masjid Baitul Maqdis? What happened to all those namaz for 17 months? So Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is consoling those Muslims that Inna Allah bin Nasi la Raufur Rahim. So Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is very kind, because when they were facing toward Baitul Maqdis, they were following the command of Allah and His Prophet, and now they have done. It doesn't mean that their namaz have been wasted. قَدْ نَرَى تَقَلَّبُ وَجْهَكَ فِي السَّمَاءِ فَلَنُوَلِّيَنَّكَ قِبْلَةً تَرْضَاهَا. So we were seeing that the word taqalluba. What does taqalluba means? So the root word of that is qalb. Qalb, we use this word. Qalb means heart, and there are many. This is the root word. Qalb, Arab used to believe that this is an organ that is in the human chest, hanging upside down. So anything inverted, anything going back and forth, was from that root word qalb. In Qiraat, we have a qalb too. When the sound is changed, when there's a nun sakin or tanween, so we call it qalb, because it's changing or inverting something. So Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what he used to do when he moved to Medina and the Qibla was changed to Baitul Maqdis, so it was a desire. He obeyed that command and started praying, but he wished that his original Qibla, which is Masjid al-Haram, he would like it more. So he would always look at the heavens, that is there any wahi coming for the change of Qibla. So his gaze will go back and forth to the heavens and all that. So this is what the word taqalluba means, that going back and forth. So that's why Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala changed what Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam wished for, the Qibla he liked it. So change back. So wherever you are, you face toward Masjid al-Haram. And now there is another thing. وَإِنَّ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ لِيَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ. And the people of the book, the Jews and the Christians, they know this is the haqq, or this is the truth. look at that Ibrahim alayhi salam, because they also say that, we are the Abrahamic religion, from the Abrahamic religion. So Ibrahim alayhi salam built Kaaba, and that was a thing. And much later, this Haikal Sulaimani was built by Sulaiman alayhi salam, much later, about 1,000 years after the Ibrahim alayhi salam. And what we believe is, being Imam al-Qiblatain, both East and West belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave his beloved prophet, this Habib, the honor that he will lead all the prophets, and became the two centers of the worship. Baitul Maqdis and Masjid al-Haram, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made his Habib, the Imam al-Qiblatain. And this people of scriptures knew it is truth, but it is some degree of arrogance that they do not want to believe that. Because initially, when Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would pray in the early Madani life toward Baitul Maqdis, they would say, Jews started saying that, he follows our Qibla. And when he turned it back to the, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him to turn it back to the Masjid al-Haram, they say, what made them turn? So they were not happy each way. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going, okay, these people of scriptures would not follow your Qibla, doesn't matter how much ayats you bring. So they already knew all the ayats and all the things like that. But present day, they are people of book. They do not believe that Kaaba was built by Ibrahim alayhi salam. So in the process, they lost it. But in the time of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they did know that this is the original Kaaba built by Ibrahim alayhi salam. But now they call themselves, people, the followers of Ibrahim alayhi salam, but they do not recognize, Masjid al-Haram as the one built by Ibrahim alayhi salam. And now Muslims are being admonished that now the Imam al-Qiblatan who has come to you and guided you, now you do not follow the wishes or the desires of people of book. And there's an admonition that, innaka iza lamina zalimin. So you will follow. Because now, if people of scripture say that no, Kaaba is not the original temple built by Ibrahim alayhi salam, and you listen, so you will become, if following their desires or following their wishes, or just to politically correct yourself and do that you can go astray. Muslims are being الذين آتيناهم الكتاب يعرفونه كما يعرفون أبناءهم. So those people of scriptures, they know Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam just like they know their own son. So did they know that he was a prophet? Of course. All the prophecies, all the signs, they were there. And the people who were seeking the truth, they did not have any problem recognizing. Those people, they did not have the vested interest. Even the king of the Roman Empire, at that time, the early Romans were pagan emperors, but in 333, they had accepted Christianity. So the person, the leader of the emperor would call himself Holy Roman Emperor. So at the time of Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Heraclius was the Holy Roman Emperor. And when Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam wrote a letter to him, inviting him toward Islam, he did not have any problem recognizing. So when he asked about that, which family he is from, so Abu Sufyan said that it is from the noble family. So he said, yes, all the prophets come from the noble family. So he asked, how was his dealing with you? So Abu Sufyan said that dealing was very just and very honest. So he said that, have you ever seen him telling any lies before the declaration of prophethood? Abu Sufyan said no. So when he said these are all the examples of being a prophet, so he said that, if I had my way, I will go right to him, wash his feet, and drink the water. So that's what he's saying. But what happened? That his interest, he could fear a revolt in it. So all the people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that those people of scriptures recognize Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam just like they recognize their own sons. Those people, like, look at Abdullah bin Salam, the biggest Jewish scholar of Medina. So he had all kind of, signs that what would prophet look like, last prophet, and they had been waiting. That's the reason that they had moved to Medina, because they knew that the last prophet will come and migrate to this city, Medina. That's the reason the three prominent Jewish tribes came and settled down there. And they used to say, and they had even knew that the last prophet will be ummi. Ummi means who is not dependent on reading and writing for his knowledge. So they would say that when Nabil Ummi will come, that will be time for our glory, because now Jerusalem had been occupied by the Romans, and they had been exiled from there, but they were hoping that when the last prophet come, they will again find the glory. So Abdullah bin Salam, the Jewish rabbi, the chief Jewish rabbi of Medina, when Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam moved to Medina, he wanted to go and ask him some questions about the signs and all that. But when he visited Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and saw Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he forgot all his question. He just looked at the face of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and testified, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. He said that this face could not be of a liar. So that they had such a clear, signs, what would prophet look like, what he would do. Another example is Hazrat Salman Farsi. Salman Farsi, being born in Persia, he was Zoroastrian, but he was tired of fire worshipping. So first he tried to convert to Judaism, but Jewish community refused to take him because they would not take any converts. So they say that we don't take any converts. So he converted to Christianity, and in the he became, in the service of many prominent Christian scholars. And the Christian scholars, one Christian scholar, he said that prophet is about to come, and when that priest through which he learned, Hazrat Salman Farsi, all the knowledge, he was able to point out that time is about to come of a prophet. And when he was dying, he said, I taught you everything I knew, and I'm dying. So there's another priest in Syria, go visit him, and he will tell you more about that. So the priest died after that, and Hazrat Salman Farsi, as instructed by his first teacher, he went to find the another priest, which was in Syria. So he went and learned it from the other priest, and other priest taught everything that he knew about Christianity, about the last prophet, to Hazrat Salman Farsi. And he gave him a clear instruction, and he pointed out toward a land which has a lot of date palms, which was Medina. And he said that he will be, the last prophet would be in this vicinity. And he tell him that he is a prophet, that he would not accept charity, he will accept gifts, and he would have a seal of prophethood on his back. These were the signs that were given to Hazrat Salman Farsi. By later on, that priest died as well, and that's why Hazrat Salman Farsi was not only able to come to Medina, because that's what it was told, and he was able to find Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he accepted Islam, and that's what it is being mentioned in this ayat. So الذين آتيناهم الكتاب يعرفون كما يعرفون أبناءهم وإن فريق منهم. So among them, they know them just like they know their sons, but among them is a group that hide the truth. What truth they hide it? That all the indication that the last prophet, how he look like, which land he will migrate to, how would he do, his habits. So all of them, but they al-haqqu min rabbihim fala takununna min al-mumtarin. So the truth is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Muslims are being advised that do not doubt anything, because although they hide the truth, those people who wanted to find truth, like Hazrat Salman Farsi, did find the truth. Abdullah bin Salam, he wanted to find the truth, he did find it. And one group of people, they hid the truth, hid the signs, hid everything. But truth is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he wanted to make his Habib the Imam al-Qiblatain, Imam of Kaaba, and Imam of also Baitul Maqdis. And there are many miracles associated with Kaaba itself, that Kaaba, as I said, that it is not subject to a building which is built by stones and mortar. uh, Kaaba's building has been built and destroyed many times. When Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, before he declared his prophet, 5 years before he declared his prophet, he was 35 years old, and age 40 he declared his prophet. So age 35 there was a big flood that came to Makkah, and flood actually damaged the building uh, of Kaaba, and to such an extent that it became so weak that it could fall any time. So Quraysh decided that they will, instead of it falling itself, we will break it and then we will rebuild it. So what Quraysh did, that they chip in the money, and the richest man of Makkah, Walid bin Mughira, he chip in the 1/3 of the cost, and rest of the Quraysh, they chip in the rest of the thing, and they rebuild the Kaaba. And when they rebuild the Kaaba, they hire a Roman architect to rebuild it. And in the original design, the what is now called Hatim was in their original plan. But despite the generous contribution by um, you know Walid bin Mughira and rest of the Quraysh, they ran out of funds, and the original plan, which would include Hatim. So now Hatim is actually part of Kaaba, but it is outside of Kaaba. So anybody who prayed any namaz in Hatim is like praying in the Kaaba, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declared it's part of the Kaaba, but it is open area. So ordinary people, if only dignitaries can go inside the Kaaba, but if somebody can make it to Hatim and pray inside the Hatim, it is same as reading inside the Kaaba. So may Allah grant us that we get to pray inside the Hatim. So the another thing miracle associated with Kaaba is just 55 days before Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was born, Abroha attacked with his elephants to Makkah. And the history goes that Abroha, who was king of southern part of Arabia, Yemen, he had mostly in Arabia there were different religions, mostly Hijaz, and most of the tribes were pagan, but some part had accepted Christianity, and so was the south. So and some northern part closer to Syria had accepted Christianity. So Abroha, he had accepted Christianity, and he would envy that all the people, all the tribes annually go to Hajj and perform Hajj in Zil Hajj. And so to counter that, he built a grand church right in Sana'a, Yemen, and he told all the Arab that instead of going to Kaaba, why don't you come? It is more grander and all that. So perform your pilgrimage here. But he did not have much success. So that enraged him. And the uh, what happened? One of the Arab person, they came, and he threw some dirt right in the church that was built by Abroha. So Abroha, he he had this elephant cavalry, so he marched with this elephant cavalry right to the Makkah. And when he approached Makkah, in the vicinity, uh, he met Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, and Abdul Muttalib, he said that the soldiers of Abroha had confiscated some of the livestock of Abdul Muttalib. So when he came to meet, he was impressed by the noor that was in the forehead of uh, the grandfather of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So he said, "What brought you here? You have come to plead that I should not destroy Kaaba?" He said, "No, I'm the owner of those livestock that your soldiers have taken away. So give it back." So he says, "I've come to destroy the Kaaba, and you're talking about your livestock." So uh, uh, he said that I'm owner of the livestock, so give it back. The owner of Kaaba is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will take care of that. So when Abroha went forward to destroy the Kaaba, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent some bird from uh, the sky, and that destroyed all the elephant cavalry of Abroha. So this is again the miracle that is associated, that happened 55 days before the birth of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And another miracle is what I was just describing, that when Quraysh, they ran out of money and Hatim area was never completed. And the age when Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was age 35, that work was completed on Kaaba. And the final thing was how to put back the Hajr Aswad back into the wall. So all the tribes who had chipped in the money, what they did, they said, our chief should have that honor. Our chief should have that honor. So Banu Makhzum, Banu Umayyah, Banu Sahm, all of them, they draw their sword and say that, if we don't have the honor, there will be bloodshed in Makkah. So they say that, we chipped in and rebuilt the Kaaba. We should not do that. Let's find a, mediator who can mediate how should we resolve that. And they made a resolution. What we should do is randomly pick up a mediator and says that from a particular door of Masjid al-Haram, anybody entered on that particular day, we will accept him as our mediator. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam from that particular door to Kaaba. And all the Quraysh, when they saw it was Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam coming, so they say, okay, we accept him, because he was such a respected figure that they say, okay, we will accept him. And they told him what was the issue. They said that each tribal chief wanted to have that honor, that now Kaaba is complete, rebuilding. They want to put back the Hajr Aswad. So please resolve us, otherwise there will be a lot of bloodshed. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told that bring a sheet of cloth and put the Hajr Aswad in there, and each chief should grab one corner and stick right to the wall of Kaaba. So all of the chiefs, they brought a sheet of cloth, they put the Hajr Aswad in there, each chief grabbed a corner of that and took right to the where it was supposed to be installed. So Nabi Karim Sallam, with his blessed hand, he lifted up the Hajr Aswad and put it back and install it into the Kaaba. So that is the Kaaba associated with a lot of miracles. Now, another last thing I want to mention, why every year you put the cover or the ghalaf on Kaaba. The history goes back that a lot of years ago, there was one big king named Tabba. He was a big conqueror to the magnitude of Alexander the Great or the Cyrus the Great. So he conquered many cities. And as he went to Makkah, he was passing by. It was not a big populated city. So he realized that the people of Makkah, they did not greet him as a great emperor should be greeted. So he asked the people of Makkah that what is the issue? Why I did not get a warm reception here? So people, his advisors say that, this is where Kaaba is, and they take the pride. These Makkans take a pride that, all the people, all the tribes from Arabia come and, make a pilgrimage here. That's why, they did not think much of you. So this king, Tabba, he's made an intention that Mazallah, he will destroy the Kaaba. And when he made that decision, so he became very sick. So a lot of body fluids started excreting from his ears, from his nose, his ears, his nose, his eyes. So he had very good physicians in his camp. So all of them, they came and tried to treat him, but they realized that, he's not getting any better. So all his physicians say that, we did everything to cure you, but it seems that, your illness is something of a different nature. Have you, one of his physicians say that, did you intend something bad? So he said, yes, I intend to destroy the Kaaba. So his physician said that, repent from it, because maybe that's what happened, because I could not see anything medically wrong with you. There's something else. So he repented, and he was so he got better very soon. All his illness, went away. And as a gratitude, what he did, he made a big cover and put it right on the Kaaba. This is the tradition that is carried on to this day. And there's another thing associated with Tabba, that Tabba, after he got well, he marched toward Medina. So at that time, there was no city called Medina. There was some water holes and things like that, from which Tabba's army could and his livestock could drink water from. But as to speak a city, there was no city. Maybe there was some few houses here and there. So when Jewish scholars, when they saw Medina, so they told Tabba that we are not going to march forward. So Tabba asked, what is the matter? So Tabba said, those Jewish scholars say that when the last prophet, when he come, he will migrate and come to this land. And they had no problem recognize the land that of Medina. So Tabba, when he said that, okay, if that's the matter, I will stay. I want to meet the last prophet myself. So he stayed in Medina for a whole 1 year. But that is, according to some scholars, it was 600 years before Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So of course, Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did. So he, because of his affairs of the state, he said that now I have to move forward. And he wanted to conquer the big part of the world and all that. So he moved. But he says, anybody who wants to stay there and wait for the last prophet, I will build him a house. So 200 of the scholars, it's mostly Jewish, they said, okay, we want to stay here. So Tabba, he built one house for each of them and gifted them. And he had a letter written. He says that anybody find, if I don't, you don't find it, your future generation, anybody who find Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, give that letter. So it says that I, Tabba, declare that I believe in the last prophet. I believe in the book that last prophet will bring, and I will bring in the religion that last prophet will bring. He wrote that letter and gave it to the scholars for whom he built the houses, and gave it to them. That stayed, the letter stayed in the Ansar for future generations to come. Even when Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was migrating to Medina, so they told one Sahabi, his name was Abu Layla. They said that Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is coming from Makkah to Medina. Before he reaches Medina, go give it to him. So Abu Layla, Hazrat Abu Layla, he went, and Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was halfway on his journey to Medina, and he gave that Hazrat Abu Layla gave that letter to Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, originally written by Tabba. So Tabba is credited with two things. First, he's being a sort of a founder of Medina, and first person to put the cover or the ghalaf on Kaaba. So we will leave it, inshallah, here. And if any brothers have any questions, inshallah, welcome that. Or any comments.